Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Lily. I am so happy that you are here with me today. In today's video, I am doing an updated version of how I save the golden spine on little golden books. It's been a few years since I've created this type of video, and I'm going to show you how we do this. So if you would like to create a junk journal, using a little golden book and how you can save the golden spine. I'm going to show you how in this video. I also have an older video and I'm going to link it up above. So if you want to go and take a look at that, I invite you to do so. This one is going to show you my newest techniques and some of the new tools that I'm going to use to create this. It doesn't vary much from the way I've been doing it for a few years now, but I thought it was time for an updated version. And so I'm going to go through all of the details. We are going to work on two little golden books, and I'm going to show you step by step how to save the golden spine. And then you are going to be left with a cover that looks just like this. And that's what we are going to talk about in this video, okay? You guys ready to get started? Grab your little golden books and let's go. The three little golden books that I am going to be working on are all bunny themed, and these are books that I have either picked up at the thrift store or my sister has gifted me, or I purchased from Linda at Joyful Makes and Finds on Etsy. Now, I'm going to begin by showing you the one that I've already made off camera. And you can see how at the very top and the bottom of the binding, not the binding, the oh my gosh, yeah, the binding. Holy cow. We're starting off this way, you guys. But I just pointed out the spine. That's what I'm talking about. I added some gold cardstock at the top and at the bottom before I added the tape over it, the clear tape. And that is to kind of strengthen that top and the bottom because it was so beat up. This one came from the thrift store and it looked like it had been chewed. And so to kind of, strengthen it, I added a little bit of cardstock, which I just folded over the top and the bottom edge, and then I covered it with tape. In the past, I have used this packaging tape, and this one here is by the Duck brand, but I've used all the other brands of packaging tape. And it's about 2 inches wide, and it's perfect for taping onto that golden spine. But I wanted it to be a little bit wider, and so I went on the internet and I found this Scotch bookbinding tape. Bookbinding, yeah, bookbinding tape. It is to protect the spines of tapes, new or old. And so I purchased this one to give it a try. It is in my Amazon store. So if you would like to go see more information about this particular 4-inch Scotch tape, I will have a link to that in the description area below. Look at the difference. The Scotch binding tape is super, super clear, super transparent, where the packaging tape does have a little bit of a yellow tint, but it really doesn't make a difference because, it really doesn't. I've been using packaging tape for several years. But I like the wide tape, and that is because if I have a 1-inch spine, I want to make sure that my tape, I have extra tape that overlaps onto the front and to the back cover. And that also helps reinforce the cardstock that I use on the inside of the cover. And I am going to go through all of those steps with you one by one from beginning to end. And this is another book. I honestly don't remember where these books came from, but I mentioned, where they possibly came from. This one has a little bit of water damage, and you know what? It's okay. It's old. These are old books. I don't have the years off the top of my head. If I remember, I will jot down the years of these books in the description area below. So the very first thing that I like to do after I purchase the book is I grab a almost like damp, not too wet paper towel, a little bit damp, but more on the dry side. And I gently clean off some of the grime from the books because these books are 30, 40, 50 years old, okay? Yes, 50 years old. The 70s was 50 years old, you guys. I'm going to be 55 years old this year. So yeah, the 50s, excuse me, the 70s was 50 some years ago. Okay, so very lightly, I clean the front cover, the back cover, and then I even go inside and I dust the pages off. Again, my paper towel is almost dry because I don't want to damage or oversaturate the covers with too much moisture. So just a little bit goes a long way and it just cleans it up. And I don't use any cleaner, I just use plain water. And I do the same thing to both books. And then I go around and I inspect the books to see if they need any extra repair. And I also want to check to see where the staples are. Each of the little golden books has two staples which hold the spine in place, and also the two signatures that are in the little golden book. Most of them are composed of two signatures, and each signature has three large folded papers in half. Most of them are like that. So now that I have um, marked or not, now that I know where the staples are, I grabbed my bone folder. You want to use something that isn't sharp. You could use a butter knife. Whatever instrument you use to separate the staples from the spine, you want to make sure it's not too sharp, and you're going to be careful and very gently, you're going to wiggle side to side, up and down, very carefully without perforating the spine. So you want to make sure you don't poke your tool, your butter knife, or your bone folder through the spine because you don't want to tear into the golden edge, the golden spine. So I'm going to go from the top staple down to the bottom staple and then just wiggle, wiggle very gently and see how I'm holding my hand against it because I would be able to feel if that bone folder wanted to make its way through the spine, and I want to prevent that. So just very gently, just wiggle, wiggle. You have to be patient. It doesn't take very long to do this. It took me just a couple of minutes. Just be patient. Some of these books, like I said, are very old and the staples may rust. So there have been many books that I have taken apart this way, and it's tricky because if the staple becomes rusted, it's even harder to separate because it's kind of fused itself to the spine and to the pages. But once you wiggle it out of the way, you just want to get to the point where you can separate and extend the spine. And I'm going to leave the staples as they are. You can see them there. Be careful. You don't want to poke yourself. These are rusty staples. So just, I'm just telling you, please be careful. And now very gently, I am going to pull apart the signatures, the two signatures. There is a little bit of adhesive because not only do they use staples to hold the signature together, but they also use a little bit of glue. And that glue is old and dry and crusty. And sometimes, it has a good grip on the paper, so you don't want to tear away. So just gently lift it away. And now you are left with just the cover. Once you remove the pages from the cover, you'll be able to flatten out the spine. Next, we're going to work on the staples. You have a couple of options here, and I've done both, where I have taken my little pliers, and the pliers all come with like a little snipping tool. And so I will take the snips and I'll place it flush against the cover and then trim away the little prongs on the staple. And that's what I'm showing you here that I just did. You also be careful, you don't want to pinch your fingers when you're covering the cutter. And I placed my hand over it just in case the little staple flew. I didn't want it to fly into my eye. So I just kind of placed my hand over it. So that's one option. You can take your pliers and your little cutter, wire cutter, and cut the staple away. You can't pull it out because it'll tear the golden spine. The other option, which I have also done, is I'll take my little hammer and I will flatten out the staple, the little prongs, and make it flush, and it's not going to get in the way. You'll never even know that the staples were there because we're going to cover the inside with a little bit of cardstock. And so I'm just making sure that they are all completely pressed down, or if you cut them, make sure that you cut them flush to the cardstock so that you don't feel that little, the little point, the little sharp edge. So now that you've done that, I'm now inspecting to make sure there aren't any tears in that spine. You do not want to pull away too hard or you will tear the cover right down the middle, and you don't want to do that. So be very careful. And I'm just kind of separating down that center and just flattening it out as best as I could, because there is a little gap right down the center of the spine. There's a tiny little gap. And so I am just separating it, making sure that it is flat. Sometimes that little gap down the center is about 1/4 of an inch wide. And then in this case, it really wasn't. But if it were too wide, I would fill it in with some thick cardstock or some chipboard to kind of make it even. And in that other video that I made a few years ago, I show you what I'm talking about. But I'm not going to do that in this video. I didn't have to. I'm just flattening it out, smoothing everything out, because next I am going to grab some pretty cardstock. This is my favorite cardstock, you guys. This is beautiful cardstock that I pick up at the Hobby Lobby. And you know, I haven't been to Hobby Lobby in a while. Um, I want to say January. Yeah, I've been in Hobby Lobby. Wow, can you believe that? I'm trying to go no spend and just use all of the supplies I have, because I've got plenty of supplies. I don't need I don't need more cardstock. Sometimes I can't help myself. So let's see how much longer I can go without walking into a Hobby Lobby. Okay, so I am going to measure about 3.5 inches wide, and I believe the height of the book is about 8 inches. So I am measuring my cardstock to be 3 3/4 wide and 8 inches in length. And the reason why I want it to be 3 3/4 wide is remember my Scotch binding tape is 4 inches wide. And so I want the cardstock to be just shy of that 4 inches so that when I glue it down, my clear binding tape will cover that little cardstock. And I love this cardstock. It has beautiful gold foil hearts. And you know how much I love the heart shape. It is my favorite. I use hearts in all of my projects. I sprinkle them throughout all of my journals and all the things that I do. It just makes me so happy. And to see gold hearts, and how fitting for the little golden books. So now this is my favorite glue to use. It is the ultimate glue, and it grabs and it doesn't take very long to dry. And I wanted to make sure that I used an adhesive that was going to grab onto that cardstock and it was really going to adhere to the cover. And so I am just smoothing it. You use whatever adhesive you prefer to use. You can use tape runner, you can use art glitter glue, which is also my other favorite. You can use glue stick. We just want to make sure that that cardstock is going to be well adhered to the inside cover. Make sure it grabs on, and then we're going to take the clear tape Whether you're using the Scotch Clear binding tape or packaging tape, we're going to go over it. And if you don't have the the wide 4-inch Scotch tape, that's okay. Then we'll use 2 strips of packaging tape. So just use what you have. I wanted to give this one a try, and I really like it. So I am going to place the tape over the cardstock on the inside of the cover. The glass mat really helps because I pressed it down onto the glass mat, made sure the tape was going to be even on all sides, and then I start smoothing it and pressing it down until I get to the other end. I'm not going to cut it. Instead, I'm just going to turn the cover over and then wrap the tape around over the golden spine. And this is my way of saving the golden spine. I don't have to cut it. I don't want to cut it. I want to save the golden spine. This is my way of doing it. I'm certain that there are so many other methods of doing this, but this is the way I've been doing this for several years now, and it is my favorite method of doing it. But if you have another way of doing it, then go for it. Do what works for you. I'm showing you how I do it, and I hope that if you have been on the fence about working on a little golden book, I hope that this inspires you so that you can create a beautiful junk journal, save the golden spine, and create a piece of junk journal art that will make you happy. So now that I have wrapped it around the inside and the outside, that little piece of tape that I cut off, I add back on there so that the tape doesn't stick to itself. And now I'm just going to cut the excess, and then I'm going to fold it over, kind of reinforce that again. And then again, just smooth everything out. And before I even started working on this video, I worked on that first little golden book cover about 4 weeks ago. So it's been sitting on my craft table for about 4 weeks. I've been trying to finish this video for a month now. I started in April. We're now almost halfway through May, and I've just been a little bit busy with things outside of my craft. So I'll tell you more about that in a second. Okay, so with my spatula, I'm just going to crease the folds of the front and the back cover and very gently close the book, making sure that everything, that tape is not lifting, it has been smoothed. And now we are left with a beautiful golden spine that is about 1 inch wide. And it will now be ready for 2 signatures. I'm not going to show you in this video how I add the signatures back in there, but I will show you in a future video, I hope. But 2 signatures, 2 signatures will be perfect for the 1 inch spine. We're going to go through the process again one more time in case I missed anything, in case I missed mentioning anything the first time around. Let's do it again with the second book. I clean it all up, and this one actually has 2 separate price stickers on it. And I am not going to remove them. I'm going to leave them there, cleaning it up. This one was a little bit dirtier than the other, and I had already kind of cleaned them before. But this one needed a little extra. If you work at it too much, you're going to take some of that ink off. So just keep that in mind and go gently when you clean your covers, especially when books are this old. And I'm just thumbing through the pages to make sure that they're not too damaged or tattered. These are actually, this one's in pretty good shape. I'm looking for the staples, kind of eyeballing where they are so that then I can take my bone folder and kind of gauge where they are on the inside. And then I start wiggling my bone folder side to side, up and down, and I'll bounce from the bottom to the top, and that kind of loosens them up a little bit and evenly. So I'm not tearing into the pages, I'm not tearing into the spine. And again, it only took a couple minutes. I did edit some of that time out, but it was just a couple of minutes to open the spine. And these staples were really rusted. And so it was kind of tricky to separate it, and then it really had a firm grip on the signatures, but they came apart. And now again, with the staples, I'm not going to cut the staples. I'm going to take my little hammer and I am going to flatten those out and make them flush with the cover. I am working on a glass mat, and so I just placed a cloth underneath to kind of absorb the hammering and just flatten them out. And on the opposite side, the staple was kind of lifting on the other, like the back side of the staple was lifting on that golden spine. And so I'm just very carefully with my bone folder, just kind of flattening and smoothing it out so that then I can add the clear tape. If I notice how I just wiggled the spine there, it'll fold. It'll fold in itself. And that's the reason why I use a heavy cardstock on the inside of the cover. Because if we don't do that, it's going to make for a floppy spine because it has that fold right down the center. It has how many folds? It has 1, 2, 3 folds on that spine. That is the reason why I reinforce it with the cardstock to make the spine sturdy so that it doesn't fold in on itself. I'm measuring the book. Most little golden books are about the same size, but it's better to measure twice and cut once because they could vary about 1/4 of an inch. I've seen some little golden books that are actually wider. And so just measure before cutting. But this one, it's about, the little golden book is about 6 by 8. And that cardstock, again, I cut it down to the same dimensions, 3 3/4 by 8 inches in length. I'm adding the ultimate glue. And I am positioning it right down the center of the inside of the cover. I'm using the grid on my glass mat as a guide to make sure that I have everything centered. And this is a We Are Memory Keepers glass mat. It is very large, very large. I also have the Tim Holtz one, the black one. So I kind of switch between glass mats, but I really like this one too. Positioning my Scotch tape. You know what I should have done in hindsight? I should have used the packaging tape. Yeah, I should have done a side by side. I didn't think about that. But in the other video that I have linked down below, I work with the packaging tape. But I should have probably done that in this video. I didn't think about it. Didn't think about it. But it's in the other video. And I like using the clear tape because, again, it reinforces and protects that golden spine, the gold foil. If your gold foil is beat up, because I've worked with some books where the gold foil is really damaged, and I've actually gone over it with a little bit of Mod Podge just to protect it. Uh, it's okay, you know. It's okay if I think it's okay if some of the age shows in some of the books. We're giving these books a new life. Some people are upset because I take the books apart, but you know what? I'm taking the books apart, but I'm giving them a second chance. Some of these books that I buy at the thrift store, if they don't sell, and some of them are pretty beat up, but if they don't sell, the thrift stores throw them away. All the books have a date sticker on them. The little price stickers also have a date, and they go through their books periodically. And if books have been sitting on their shelves for too long, I have seen them with my own eyes throw these books in dumpsters. So please don't be upset with me that I'm taking this book apart. It is it is being transformed. It's it's being given a new life and a new purpose. Oh, I know what I'm going to show you. I almost forgot. I'm going to show you what I do with I'm not going to show you how I bind the signatures, but I'm going to show you really quick in just a moment what I do with the pages before I get them ready to put them into the book. So again, I take my spatula, I go over the creases, only the crease for the front cover and the back cover, and then very gently, I bring it up very gently, very carefully, because we don't want to be too rough with our book. We don't want to tear it. We don't want it to fold in the wrong areas. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I have cover number 3. Look at how beautiful that looks. I'm saving the golden spine. And yes, when I add the the signatures, I am going to pierce through that golden spine because I am going to do a pamphlet stitch to get those signatures in there. Just know that I'm going to do that in the future. So here we are. I'm going to just show you the 3. These are going to be so much fun to work with. I love working with the little golden books. And then these are bunny. They are so stinking cute. This is a project that I really thought I'd get done like right around Easter time, but because I was in Mexico all of February and then I was in California all of March, when did I think I was I was going to be able to get this done? And then I come back from those trips and I get so busy with my work because some of you may find this hard to believe, but this is not my full-time gig. I wish I could create full-time 24/7. I would love nothing better than to be able to create all the time, but I do have a full-time career. I am a full-time real estate agent. I'm a full-time realtor. And so I've been kind of busy, which is good. It's really good. I don't want to get too much into real estate, but I've been working with several clients and things are looking good, you guys. And so that's why I've been so busy, and that's why it's taken me about a month to get this video completed. Okay, I want to show you what I am doing with the pages. So I kind of fanned them out just so you could see what they look like. This one had a few extra pages because it had some advertising at the end, and I'm going to leave those in there. Because I have flattened out that spine, it's actually made the width of the book, it's made it shorter. So now the pages are wider. Does that make sense? So what I have to do, you might want to close your eyes, but I'm going to trim the pages. And I'm going to trim the pages about 1/2 inch because they stick out 1/2 inch. I want it to be about 6 inches wide. That 1/2 inch that I am cutting away from the pages is only the border. And so it really does not cut into any of the text in the on the pages. It really doesn't. It comes really close, but here's the thing. Here's the thing, everybody. I'm altering a book that was probably going to end up in the landfill, and I'm giving it a new life. I will be altering the pages. These pages will be embellished and they will serve as backgrounds for journaling and for other pieces of ephemera. All I'm saying is don't be afraid to cut into the pages. The majority of the story will be intact and it will be a part of these junk journals, but they now serve as a backdrop. So if I didn't want to make a junk journal out of a little golden book, then the little golden book would be on the bookshelf that I have with all of my other reading books, and I have a whole collection of children's books for my grandkids. But these are not those. I have separate books that I love to read to my grandkids and that they love to read when they come over. These have a different purpose. So it's okay that I am cutting 1/2 inch off, okay? I have folded that 1/2 inch. So if you don't want to cut it, you could fold it in 1/2 inch. It is entirely up to you. This is just the method that works best for me, okay? A signature, notice how I am opening up the pages. A signature is made up of a group of papers that are folded in half. That is a signature. And each of these signatures consists of 3 pages that have been folded in half, giving you 6 papers, and each will have its own side, front side and back side. That's what a signature is. If you have any questions whatsoever about my process, if I missed mentioning anything, please let me know in the comments section below. If you have a different method of doing things, I invite you to share that in the comments. Interact with each other in the comments because we can also all help each other by commenting and and supporting each other. We're all going to do things a little bit different, and there's no right or wrong way. It's whatever works best for you. But if you have some tips that you would like to share with all of us, please leave that in the comments below. And here I go, trimming 1/2 inch of those pages. And I thought since I already had them out on my table, why not just trim all of them? And then in a future video, I will show you how I put the signatures together, and I will show you how I attach the signatures to the spine. So I will do that in a future video. I only hope it doesn't take me a month to get it done. But if that is something that you would like to see, please let me know down below. I know I do have older videos, but some of my older videos are kind of whack. So I hope you're okay with that. I'm hoping that my videos are getting better, um, by the year. So I appreciate you being here. I am going to flip the camera over in just a moment, but I just want to thank you. And I hope that you found inspiration and you get busy and you begin to create your own little golden book junk journals. You guys, did you see it? I'm at 18,000 subscribers. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate you so much. If you have any questions or comments about my process video today, please make sure you leave it in the comment section below and I will reply to you as soon as possible. If you are here for the first time, welcome. I am so happy to have you here with me and I invite you to subscribe so that you can see more content like this. I can't wait to finish working on these. I think they are going to turn out so cute. It's been a while, like I mentioned earlier, since I've worked on a little golden book, and I wanted to make sure that if I was going to restart on these, I was going to start on something super cute like the bunny little golden books. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you being here, and I will see you next time. Bye.